on fire. I'm not a victim. A girl on fire. I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire. I've made a choice. I stand proud. I'm a girl on fire. I'm a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend. I'm every woman. I have taken up arms and I choose to defend all that I hold dear. Independent and strong, you will not keep me down. You can't break me.
Lynette Oxley here for Tac Shack Tactical TV and GOSA Girls on Fire 16 Days of Action for No Violence Against Women and Children. I'm sitting here with one of my range officers and absolutely awesome on the range. Arieke, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So on Saturday we had a introduction to handgun shoot, and for the first time you spoke up about what happened to you. Let's start, maybe move a step back. Who is Arieke? Because I see this bubbly person on the range that just get people doing stuff. Who do you say you are?
That is who I am. That is who I am. Me being out there, it's never a fake thing. It's never putting on a mask. But there is another side of me. There's a very serious side of me. People don't believe it when I tell them I'm an introvert. I am. Fully. I love my own time. COVID was the best thing that could have happened to me. I think a lot of my healing that we'll speak about now also happened through COVID when I just needed to deal with my own thoughts and the processes that I had to go through. But yeah, that is me. I love empowering people. I love getting people together and having a party or get them to shoot a gun. That is totally me. I run a little business I do life coaching and business coaching. The life coaching is the passion side, where I help empower people. And that's where GOSA Girls on Fire it speaks to me. Yes, it's about shooting guns, and in the psychological coaching side, I've got a degree in psychology as well, so I bring a lot of psychological insight into my coaching. And with GOSA Girls on Fire, it is seeing women realizing that they can do this.
Absolutely, and that it's just the most awesome thing to actually see that happening. You can see something clicking in their minds,
and that can lead a woman to understanding that she can get out of her situation, whatever it is. Not all abuse is a life-threatening situation that you're in. Mine definitely wasn't. It was not a life thing, so it's not okay, I can defend myself using the firearm that I now have. Yeah. But it does just give you
that empowerment from the bottom, and you can make changes.
You can do that, and that is what drives me. It's just helping people, basically.
So we're going to talk about your ex-husband and your situation. Where did you meet him, and how old were you, and how did you get to this? That
is the beginning of the story. I came out of a semi-abusive relationship, but we were just young. Two young people that still needed to grow up, and it just didn't work. So there was a lot of screaming and that type of thing. But I finally got out of that, and my ex-husband was there. He was working with me at the time, and he had this calming effect about him. Which is, I think, what drew me to him in the first place, because I came out of this whole erratic thing, which was weird from my background as a child. There's no reason for me to have ever been in an abusive relationship. I don't have any sad story as to, I didn't have a father or my mother. There's my father, my mother, my brother, my sister. They are all amazing, and were, my father, rest his soul's gone to heaven, but everybody else. So I didn't have any reason for that, which forced me to hide the relationship I was in and how bad it had actually gotten. I got really, really sick. It was, and nobody knew why. My parents thought I was on drugs, and it was quite a story. I never was. They did tests to prove to themselves that I wasn't. And yeah, my ex-husband was just there, and we were working together, and it was a different working environment. It wasn't a corporate setup, so a lot of social interaction. So we spent a lot of time together, and one thing led to another, and we started dating. Well, wouldn't even call it dating because our work hours were of such that we were just always in each other's company, the whole group. And then, yeah, I needed to get out of that lifestyle because it wasn't really the mother, you know, I have children type work that we were doing. So I got out of that. So did he then, followed suit. In hindsight, I just realized that he always just followed suit. He never actually made decisions or did anything. You might want to cut that. And
what work was it?
We were working at Arthur Murray Dance Studio, so we were all dance instructors, which was nice. After my degree, I studied, I finished my degree. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and that fell into my lap, and I was like, oh, great. And the reason I loved that is also because it resonates with me. It does empower people.
Yeah.
I was never just a dance instructor. You get somebody on the floor, a couple, and they are forced to spend an hour in each other's arms once a week. And you're kind of the counselor. Sitting there, you need to teach them steps, and the man needs to be gentle, leading a lady. And a lady, no matter who she is, needs to be able to let go and give in. And, you know, it just forms balance in a relationship. So I was really happy there, but it's not something that you can continue doing, the working hours and having children and so forth. So yeah, I was 24 when I met my ex-husband, and we got married when I was 27.
That's not young.
Yeah. That's not young anymore. Looking back, yes, the 24 was still young, and where I was coming from, I wasn't making the right choices. If I'd been in corporate or maybe taking my psychology and my coaching at that stage already, I would have seen other men, other types of men that would have probably changed my decision. Yeah.
And so you got married?
We got married. How we got married or why we got married is a sad story. I was comparing myself a lot to my family. My brother found a wonderful girlfriend at the age of 19, and they're still married now. It's now 21, 22, something, however many years. They started having their children at about 24, 25. I know my mother had my sister at about 24, 25. So in my mind, that was the age. That was the age that you're supposed to settle down. And by 27, I realized, oh my goodness, I want to have kids before I'm 30, because people say that the biological clock starts ticking, it's not good for your body. So I did the calculations. My parents were out of the country at that stage, and they were coming for a visit. And I literally did the calculations. I said, well, if I want to have a kid, if I want to be married for a year before I fall pregnant, I want to have a kid before I'm 30, we've got to get married now. So there was never a proposal. There was never all of those things, and I didn't realize that I missed it. So we got married. Long story as to why and how, and parents, and my family was against it, but they did support me. So we all saw the good in this man. He, at that stage, was a divorcee already, with 2 children. But I never really got the reason that they got divorced. So there wasn't a frame of reference as to what went wrong there. And then, of course, that whole thing of I can help people, because that's who I am. I help people. So I had this broken winged little bird that I was helping. And I'll never forget my sister's words. It's actually her, and I still use it to this day, where she said to me, you can help people. That's great, but not the person in your life. That person has to be a strong one that can hold you. And that resonated with me quite a bit, with my current husband as well. He is the strong yet gentle, don't tell the world that he's gentle type guy. So yeah, so I got married for the wrong reasons. I fell pregnant very quickly. But yeah, that honeymoon stage, all of that was never really there. And I didn't notice that while I was going through that. And as we mentioned now, with being so conservative in Afrikaans, sex was never spoken about. It's kind of 1920s where the women don't know what's happening. You're going to get married, but you don't know what to do on the wedding night and that type of thing. So obviously I knew what sex was, and, I had a book. I was given a book to read. And I mean, when I say this, I by no means mean anything bad towards my mother for not doing that. That's just the way that it was.
It is the way it was.
It's just the way that it was. So yeah, that was never spoken about, and that's one thing that I also want to get out there. Moms, dads, speak to your kids, and not just your daughters. Speak to your sons as well. How do you treat a lady? What is supposed to happen? What does actually happen? How should it be? It should be fun. It should be loving. It's that's what sex is supposed to be. Exactly. That is what sex is supposed to be. It should never feel like a chore. It should never feel like this is something that you have to do. And unfortunately, a lot of women go through that. They feel that they have to satisfy their husbands. And
so when did you notice that something was wrong? Not even at the deepest level that we're talking about.
Yes,
but somewhere along the line you knew something. This is not the way stuff should be.
That it should happen. So 5 years. I don't think I realized it's wrong per se until after my son was born. So that's 2 children into the marriage, and I wasn't happy, but I never realized that this is wrong, that I should actually get out, that I'm worth more. I just believed that it's just the way that it is, because the more things would happen, the more I would take it onto myself, because I'm not satisfying him. That is why he's going to these measures of relieving himself. If you look at how men and women are put together, for a woman, sex is an emotional thing. That is a fact. We need to feel safe and secure, and then sex happens. For a man, most men, it is the other way around. Once you have had sex, you can actually then talk to your husband about more heartwarming stuff. It's the way they're wired. They get sexually frustrated. We don't necessarily do. It's the emotional level there. So what happened with me was, okay, so I don't feel like having sex with my husband, so I don't. And that must be why he's helping himself at night while I'm apparently sleeping.
So tell us about that.
That is where what the abuse then was that I was coming from. I would wake up at night feeling that he was feeling me up, playing, that type of thing, but never really fully awake. And my whole life I was a deep sleeper, so I didn't think much of that either. I was like, okay, sorry, that happened. And then speaking to friends a little bit about it, because it wasn't in me to talk about sex to people. One friend said to me, oh, but she loves it when her husband wakes her up for sex.
But you don't wake up.
And I was like, oh, okay, so I must be wrong. But exactly, I didn't wake up. After the divorce, somebody said to me, well, hang on, who actually always made your coffee? Because that's the type of husband he was. To the outside world, I was the luckiest woman in the world. He would always bring me coffee. He would help me clean the house. He would help with the cooking. After the children were born, he would bath them and feed them. I literally could just focus on my business that I was running at that stage. I mean, we're not going to do the whole life story, but yeah, at that stage I was running a small business, and I could focus on that. So everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky, and oh, I wish my husband would. And all of those things adds to a woman going, well, then I must be wrong. I must be the one that's not treating him right. A lot of people had the idea that I was sitting on his head. I'm this go-getter woman, and he's actually, I got judged for that maybe I was too strong and I wasn't letting my husband be a man. But what was happening behind closed doors, nobody knew. And that is what forced me to be that way. So yeah, I would notice stuff like that, and I would confront him about it, and he would, it's like, yeah, but if you give it to me, I wouldn't have to take it. Those were messages being sent. Funny, I kept all of those. But those are things that he said to me. He said to me, if you would just give it to me, I wouldn't feel the need to take it from you. So of course, a woman goes and she's like, oh, crap, that's my job. I'm the wife. It's my job to give my husband sex. And I think there's a lot of women out there that feel that way. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
It doesn't have to be that way. And a lot of women that I have spoken to that this happens to, they really love their husbands, and their husbands are really great people. They don't want to leave the guy. And in that aspect, you should get counseling together. There are men who just don't understand how emotional this is for a woman, and you can help a man as well through that. Mine was just beyond help, unfortunately.
But let's get it straight. He drugged you and then he had sex with you while you were not aware of it.
Yes.
That's rape.
Yeah. That is, in essence, rape. And it took me so long to put that label to it, because I'm not abused. I'm not an abused woman. It can't be. I'm strong. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I don't have any reason to be in an abusive relationship. So for a long time, I would not put that label to what had actually happened to me. But yes, he drugged me and raped me. The drugging I could never prove, but if you think about that logically, I mean, now that I'm in a relationship with a healthy sex life, come on, you're gonna wake up. Whether you're a deep sleeper or not, you're gonna wake up. And the fact that I sometimes I would not even be aware of it at all. Not at all.
And, you don't know what drugs he used. He could have killed you.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it could have gone so bad. It could have really gone so bad. I don't remember the day my son was conceived. I love him to bits. He's my angel. But that was a big turning point for me. Realizing I'm pregnant, and in my mind, I haven't had sex in a while. I was convinced of the fact that I haven't had sex because we're almost sleeping in separate bedrooms. This isn't possible.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm pregnant. So that was a big turning point for me. I did, however, still stay. I mean, why do we women stay? It's a scary
So how long did you stay after you really realized something?
He finally moved out when my son was 18 months old.
Okay.
He finally moved out then. We moved to a new place because my business was expanding. And I remember when we moved in there, I said to him, this is only a beginning. Your nonsense has to stop. And yes, of course, it'll stop. And he understands, and it's wrong, and all those type of things. And in the new house, I confronted him. I knew something had happened. It was one of those nights where I just kind of woke up, but not completely. And I confronted him about it. And he said, yeah, but it was just that once. But I'd known about a week before as well. Well, I was talking about the week before. And he said, no, it was just that once. And I was like, but just that once isn't good enough. And he's like, but it was just last night. And that's when it hit me again. Like, I was talking about an incident a week ago, and he was admitting to an incident just the night before that I had no recollection of. So yeah, then the whole process of emotionally removing myself from the situation happened. A lot of women, well, I think most women, they would need to leave a relationship emotionally before they physically leave it in any case. You cannot force a woman to leave. That's why women go back so many times to their abusers. And then my biggest turning point, I mentioned this to you last week, was when I confronted him one night. Again, he was sleeping in a separate bedroom at that stage, and I woke up with him on his knees next to the bed with his hand in my pants, and my son, my baby, lying on the other side of me. And then I woke up completely, fully. I don't know, I don't really recall all the events. I mean, this is 10 years ago. If by then someone had already mentioned to me the coffee that I was getting, that I didn't drink it that night, but I woke up fully because I was onto him, you know, I'm onto him, I'm going to catch you out. And we had a huge fight that night. He said to me, oh, but the baby was crying, so I thought I'd bring him to you, because that was the excuse he used to come into my bedroom where I was sleeping. And I was like, well, now I'm not even safe in my own bedroom anymore.
Well, you haven't been safe there in any
It
case.
wasn't safe there anyway, but I thought, you know, if I kick him out the bedroom, then I'll be fine. This is the stuff that women tell themselves. I'm not the only case of that. And whoever listens to this interview is going to hear, that, oh, wait a second, I do that too. And if I can just get one woman thinking. But anyway, so that night I said to him, who gives you the right to do to me what you were doing? And he sat there looking me straight in the eye, said, you did. The day you married me, you gave me your mind, your body, and your soul. Those were his words. And that is what some men just believe. It was his right. In his eyes, he did nothing wrong.
And he still don't see today that he's done something wrong.
No, I don't.
Because actually, if you look at it from a legal point, which you obviously didn't take, you could have taken it further.
I could have definitely taken it further. I still stand by my decision as to why I didn't. There are 4 children involved in this situation. There is the ex-wife who I'm very good friends with at the moment, which is amazing. So we have formed a family. My current husband has not only taken in my 2 children, but also his other 2. It's just absolutely, so we are a strong knit family. They do know, not my children, the older children do know to a certain degree what had happened. And in the last 10 years, the older 2 children are now, they've adults.
They've fledged.
Yes, fully fledged adults. So they can make their own decisions. But in the last 10 years, it even gotten to a point where he was so little involved in my life and the children's lives that the family advocate gave me full custody of the children.
Of his children.
Of his children. I have full custody. So that is how little he was there. I don't think taking it further, doing any legal action would have done anything. If you can write off your children that easily, if you so strongly believe, this is a psychological thing. He doesn't believe that he was wrong. So to have taken it further, it was just not. And obviously, psychologically, I wouldn't have been able to get onto the stand and say what had happened. All the statistics that you hear of women who accuse their own husbands or their boyfriends, it's always that concept of, but what did you do? You know?
And it's been, and you only, we talked about it just before the interview, and it's taken you time to process this.
Yes.
Because I knew something happened to you, but how long have we known each other?
We've known each other for years. Oh, longer than that.
Is it longer?
Long before COVID. Your very, very first Girls on Fire I attended.
Wow, that's a long time ago. That was when it was raining so much at
Yes, we were all in these little plastic ponchos.
Absolutely.
I was a participant at that one.
It was so lovely for me to see everybody, how they've grown at this last event.
Yeah. It's amazing. Look at me now. Now I'm an RO.
Exactly. But I've seen some of the older ROs actually stepping away and letting
us do. Yes, it's amazing.
It's
and that is what's so nice about this. We're a bunch of girls, but there's no bitchiness.
There isn't. And somebody else said that to me actually.
Is it?
Yeah, they said to me, there's no bitchiness. It's just like this whole big family, and it is. That's what's true.
It is. That is who we are. But the psychological aspect of getting over something like this. Like I said to you, if I can just reach one other woman, I'm not saying leave your husband. I'm not saying, I can't tell you that a woman needs to decide for herself. Is it salvageable? Is it just a man with a really strong sex drive and you don't? There's so many different things to take into account. My case was severe, but to any woman, child, man, any person that feels that if you're not comfortable, it's not right.
Absolutely.
Speak up. And I'm not saying speak up and get yourself on camera and tell the world what had happened. I mean, heaven knows how long it took me to get here. But speak to someone. Speak to someone. The day I finally spoke, it was a fight between my sister and I because she was pushing me. She was like, what's wrong? I can see there's something wrong. And it worked me up to a point. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to speak to people.
Feeling ashamed.
Yes. You feel ashamed. How could I have made this mistake? You know, I have such wonderful parents and my whole family, and here I am, the black sheep of the family, and I make this mistake, you know, that type of thing. And I screamed at her eventually. I was like, what do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you? And I just started rambling. She went very quiet. She told me to calm down. And when I got home, I was sleeping at a friend's that night. I think it was the next day when I got home. She bought herself a plane ticket from Cape Town. She was standing in front of my door.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There she was. And I was like, wow. And even more than my mother. And so I was fearing her judgment. My sister has always been somebody that I looked up to. And I wanted to be like her. Always. I don't think she knows that, so if she sees this interview, she's going to hear that for the first time. But yeah, that was my idol. So I couldn't tell her how I'd failed. And she was there, and all of a sudden she pulled out this book and she started writing stuff down. She's like, okay, we need a lawyer, we need this, and she just took over and she let it happen. And I know not everybody out there has a sister like mine. Yeah. Not everybody out there has a family like mine. But once I finally spoke out, my father, rest his soul, quietly supported me. And I think I now understand why, because if he had to speak,
yes,
it would have been, he would have taken other measures to get back at my ex. My mother, to this day, listens to me and speaks to me, and we have now spoken about how we couldn't talk about sex, and now she does, and I'm like, I don't want to know, that's my father, no, you know, the guy's in heaven, let him be. But it's so nice that it took this, yes, for me to be able to talk about it, to get my mother to talk to me. But she now also fully agrees, and she participates with me when I speak to my daughter, and we speak openly about sex, so that my child can know that she can always come to me. And I include my son in that as well. As to how should you treat a lady. That concept. And if every person that feels uncomfortable can just speak out, it doesn't matter who you talk to. If you feel you can't talk to your family, find a counselor. Find someone. Yeah. I'm very equipped to deal with other people's trauma. I finally started listening to myself, but I mean, that happens a lot. But find someone who's equipped to deal with the fact that you are not ready to leave, because that's what happens a lot of the times. Women speak out, and then the family goes, oh no, this is bad, and you must get out there, and they get you out of the house, and you're in a safe house, or you live with family, and then you go back. Because women do that. The average woman goes back between 7 and 13 times.
I had the figure of 7 in my head.
Yeah, that is the amount of times women go back, and family get tired of that.
And when it gets worse, I've had a discussion with Gerard Labaskachny about this, and he says your chances, if there is rape or assault or whatever against you, your chances of actually dying in that kind of relationship when you go back is pretty good.
Yes.
It always progresses and progresses. It doesn't stay.
Because it adds to your abuser's power.
Absolutely.
In his mind, it's like, oh, she came back. I can do whatever I want. She's going to keep coming back.
Absolutely. Psychologically, what was happening in your ex's mind? Do you think it was power, or was it just he's right and he didn't understand?
I honestly don't know. We have spent so many hours talking about that with my mother. She was the one who said to me, you should pray for him. In the beginning, I was like, excuse me? But I understand now why she said that. Because there's got to be something wrong there, and he does need help. And me praying for him doesn't mean I'm helping him. So that was the main thing. I cannot help him. But every man, woman, any abuser can be helped. They can. They just don't always know that they should, or they don't want to. So in his mind, I know I was the main breadwinner, the go-getter, that type of thing. And a lot of people say that emasculates a man. I don't think it's true.
I don't think so, no.
I don't think it's true. If a man stands truly strong within himself and he loves his wife, it doesn't matter who earns more and who doesn't. But maybe it did for him. Maybe he did feel a little like the house husband thing, and he needed to show his power by taking that from me. Maybe it's just the way that he grew up. Maybe he just grew up as to, your wife needs to do this for you.
Just had the discussion with Karina about this, and we talked about it's a whole society. It's the boys and the girls that you have to talk to about, because boys are treated in a certain way, and they should actually be all left out a lot of times.
Yeah, 100%. Girls are always told in schools, you can't wear this, and you shouldn't show your bum, and don't wear strappy tops because your bra strap distracts the boys, and that type of thing. I've actually heard from a friend of mine, their school said that your bra sticking out distracts the male teachers.
Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, we had a big thing about that. But in that concept, if you can speak to the boys and teach them that a bra strap should not distract you for this reason. Just because a girl walks around in a bikini, it doesn't give you the right to wolf whistle, it doesn't give you the right to touch.
Absolutely.
And boys don't know that, because that's how society raises us. All these little memes that go out of, as soon as you get married, the sex disappears and that type of thing, and the men moan about it, and it's all jokey. But there's some truth in that. So people get married expecting the sex to disappear, and women get married going, I'll never be that one. And in some cases, those lines just gets crossed. And the woman's like, well, I don't want to give it to you anymore. And the man goes like, well, you must. And that's when actual abuse happens. And it's abuse, and it's rape.
It's rape. That's putting it in, he raped you, that's it.
That is the way, that's it.
And he could have actually done much worse.
Yes.
If we're talking about the drugging.
Yes.
Could have
Most
ended
definitely.
really badly.
Could have ended really badly if he started realizing that he needed to give me more in order to keep me asleep.
And you still don't know what he gave you.
No
it's
idea.
your bodily integrity.
That's it.
You don't know what drug he gave you.
Yeah.
And how your body reacted to that.
To it, or the damage that was done to it, or any of that. I still have no idea. So yeah, if women can just realize, and girls, if you're uncomfortable, it's not right.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing.
What is your message to women out there for the 16 days of action?
Speak up. Speak up. Whether you speak to your husband and out of his answers you get your own answer. Find a counselor if you need to. Go to a group session. A lot of times money is an issue with that. Speak to a family member, but speak. Speak about sex. Talk about it. Like, not all these little jokes about what's going on, that goes around. Speak. What is it like for you? How does your husband treat you in bed? And I know a lot of women are so scared to talk to their friends because they'll be judged, and it'll go around the circle of friends, and that's why they keep quiet. Where if a woman can just know, it has to be loving. It has to be. And if you're not feeling loved, speak to someone else. Find someone. And that's, why we are here. Anybody that sees this knows exactly where to contact us. We are here. We've got you.
Absolutely.
We've got you. We're not going to judge you for not wanting to leave. We're not going to judge you for taking 9 years to come out and actually tell your story, because that's how long it's taken me. The processes I had to go through. The people in my life that knows, that I've trusted to tell them exactly what happened, to them it's long gone. And to me, it was a slumbering issue in my mind.
And it will always be with you.
Yes, it will always be.
It's not going to just go away.
Yeah, it never goes away. And if you go into the next relationship, like I was very lucky to find a wonderful man, but it does create issues in our sex life. it's stuff that sits in the back of your mind. And there's certain things that he would do or say that would get my back up.
Trigger. It's basically
That's a trigger. And shame for him, because, you know, it's not him, but he's paying the price.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately. And yeah, the more women we can just reach to find their self-worth. That, I think, is my main thing. A woman needs to realize their self-worth. They are worthy of love. They are not slaves. It is not their job to have sex with their husbands. That is, I think, the main thing, because there's so many women out there that believe that it is. They have to do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you on the range.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Cheers.
I've made a choice, I stand proud. I'm a girl on fire. Countless hours on the range, I am responsibly armed. I am your equal. I've empowered myself, I have practiced and trained. Fear won't control me. With my sisters in arms, we will make ourselves heard. We'll stand together. I'm a girl